James, bring us up to speed on this blacklisting. What does it actually mean to be on this list?
There isn't any actual immediate effects that being listed on this list from the Department of Defense will have. People can still do business with them. You can still contract with them. GM or other American car companies can still buy batteries from CATL. There is a provision in the future that the Department of Defense may not be able to contract or to sign contracts with these companies or to buy goods which contain goods from them. So maybe in the future, this would affect their sales in the U.S. But the biggest sign, I think, is the fact that these companies have now been targeted by the U.S. government, and this could lead to to more strict sanctions, like from the Department of Commerce or the State Department in the future. And even if that doesn't happen, there's still the U.S. government is signaling very strongly that they don't want U.S. nationals dealing with these companies. And you already saw last year, you saw CATL batteries being pulled out of a U.S. military base after Marco Rubio and other lawmakers complained that Chinese batteries were being used to power in an energy storage solution in a U.S. military base. So even before they were listed on this, even before CATL was listed on this list, you did already see them losing some business opportunities in America, and that may well continue once we get into the Trump administration, especially if Marco Rubio and other China hawks are populating senior positions in the administration.
So you've got Tencent saying they're not a military company, but how much scope is there for the companies on this list to challenge being on it?
Some companies have successfully challenged being listed on this specific list, the Department of Defense one. Hersey, for example, which makes LiDAR, which are used, basically it's kind of a laser that cars, EVs use to sort of, make a map of the world in front of them. They were listed and they were removed, and then they were listed again and then they've been removed. So there is some possibility that Tencent can basically sue to get off this list. But they could also be added back on if the Department of Defense then doesn't accept their explanations on why they shouldn't be on the list in the first place. But it also does set them up for future possible listings by the Department of Commerce, as I said, and it just makes them more of a target, and it makes them a little bit less attractive. If you want to make an investment which isn't going to attract any geopolitical risk, are you going to invest in a company or invest in a fund which is invested in this company, which may well have this risk attached to it now or in the future? It just makes them a little bit more unattractive, and I think you saw that price reaction today in the market, with those big stock price falls for Tencent, CATL, and other Chinese companies, because it's not just those two firms. It's companies like SenseTime, it's Changxin, which is a huge Chinese semiconductor, shipbuilders, shipping companies. They're all on the list today, and they all saw these kind of price reactions.
We're starting to see some reaction, though, from the companies. Tencent intending to initiate a reconsideration process. How long does that take? What is the process? How quickly can it have an effect? Other companies have been successful in these efforts. What are the chances here?
I mean, the chances are up to the Department of Defense. They get to decide who is on the list and who is not. There's no legal process for which this can be challenged, as far as I understand. Basically, the companies now have on the notice it says, please send your objections here, and please give us reasons why you shouldn't be on this list. So, Tencent or the other companies can now have their lawyers write up a document saying why they're not connected to the military and why these accusations are wrong or misleading or false, and they can send that to the Department of Defense and ask for a reconsideration. I'm not sure how long that will take. For Hersey, the process of being added and then subtracted has been quite lengthy over the last couple of years. But we'll probably see this playing out in the future. But this is part of the U.S. sanctions toolkit on Chinese companies. There's many other kinds of tools that the government can use if they want. In the first Trump administration, the Trump administration banned U.S. nationals from investing in companies that were connected to the Chinese military. So that, again, even if you're not on this list, that could be damaging for other Chinese firms as well.